the complete absence of a nationwide integrated renewable generation and transmission strategy. Well, let's take a look over the fence, let's say to Europe. And for example, in the Northern Sea, there is a new scheme of offshore wind power called Borkum. It's about 81 miles off the coast of Germany, and it's the world's largest offshore wind farm for now. It won't be in the future. It is connected to the grid using the HVDC technology, and the nice thing with that technology is you can also underground it. And by putting the cables underground and into underwater, it really reduces the environmental impact of the project to a minimum, which has, of course, contributed very much to a very swift regulatory and approval process with very limited opposition from environmentalists and other NGOs. That accelerated this project. And this project connects the wind now with the coastline of Germany and feeds into the AC transmission system very effectively. And by doing so, the utility E.ON, who owns the project, expects to avoid about 1.5 million tons of CO2 every year, replacing fossil fuel generation. As we speak, several European countries are discussing to build actually a renewable generation DC grid in the Northern Sea. As multiple wind farms offshore will be built within the next decade, they want to hook up all these wind farms together and link them up to very firm hydropower generation out of Norway, thus creating a virtual renewable power generation resource which has a way higher capacity factor than if you just use wind alone. A very innovative and creative approach to bring renewable energy in a more firm way into the current grids. So while in other parts of the world, governments, regulators, utilities, and industries are really trying to work together towards the common goal, many transmission projects in the United States are not able to overcome the regulatory hurdles. Now, the good news is that there is proof that things can be done differently. And it's actually here in Texas. Here in Texas, a unique cooperation between the utilities, multiple regulatory agencies, generation companies, and reliability councils are executing a public utility commission order effectively, timely, and fairly when it comes to cost allocation. Hallmark to the activity is the PUC-driven coordination between transmission and generation stakeholders. When completed by the end of 2013, this Texas GRESS initiative will realize incremental addition of 5,000 miles of high-voltage AC transmission, reliably moving 18 gigawatt of renewable generation from West Texas into the load centers Dallas, San Antonio, and also Austin. Multiple scenarios had been developed and studied by ERCOT in consultation with other regional transmission organizations, independent organizations, independent system operators, and utilities. The Texas Department of Wildlife provided impact analysis, and based on ERCOT's recommendations, the Commission chose one of 4 GRESS scenarios and ordered its development in the state. Simultaneous guidelines and protocols were provided to generation stakeholders to assure that neither generation nor transmission investment will be stranded, and that generation stakeholders produce sufficient assurance such that wind generation actually will be built. So the bottom line in Texas is that these projects got off the ground in a matter of years and not over decades, as we see it in other places. So, from my point of view, what are the success principles here? I'd like to touch on a couple of principles that contribute to the success of these projects from my point of view. The principles can serve as examples for other regions who are grappling with getting their projects off the ground. First is having a progressive PUC. the foresight in the Public Utility Commission of Texas and its commitment to fulfill its charter to the state and the citizens is notable. Energy has always been an engine for the economic growth here in Texas, and it continues to be. Another principle lies within the cooperation between the regulatory agencies that have agreed on common goals and have executed the reviews and permits needed to keep schedules on track. That way, this highly complex and far-reaching project got off the ground in just a few years. Not that it was easy going, but it's there. And following the common goal of accommodating incremental renewable generation, the PUC with state regulatory bodies were able to break that famous or infamous potential chicken and egg deadlock. What are the key issues to resolve? I guess it's not technology. While the intermittent nature of many renewable power sources creates new challenges for the grid reliability, there are transmission technologies available to mitigate their impact. Reliable, cost-effective transmission technology exists to support a massive amount of new renewable generation. And they are proven and they are available right now. So it's not technology. But looking at recent examples, it seems there are three key obstacles delaying the renewable energy and related transmission built out across the nation. First, it's the regulatory and siting procedures. As I mentioned, NERC's recent reliability assessment report says clearly that transmission siting is the one issue most likely to be the major challenge to long-term reliability. Without some near-term resolution, the United States will be unable to realize either the full potential of its vast renewable energy resources or the more secure grid, which is deemed so essential to the nation's well-being and national security. Siting process streamlining can be enhanced by forcing agencies that have overlapping jurisdiction to form compromise. Today, there are examples out there which actually involve up to 32 regulatory entities. You can imagine what that means. The second obstacle is cost allocation. It has been almost 10 years since the FERC Order 2000 created regional transmission organizations and independent system operators in order to establish competitive power markets and to stimulate the development of new transmission. Still, many cross-region transmission projects are stalled by the absence of local need case approvals. However, many other parts of the world are successfully dealing with siting and cost allocation, and here in Texas, this GRASS initiative may present a model that others could follow too. And finally, I think there's a real need for more political courage. Across America, transmission planning needs to become much more strategic, especially when related to renewable generation. Public utility commissions and reliability councils need to plan beyond their borders. And even more so, they need to plan beyond their election cycles. Incredulous as it may seem, in some parts of the country, public utility commissions are one of the significant reasons why vital projects are delayed. Putting major transmission projects on hold while demand recovers and the well-known and costly congestion spots reappear is not only disruptive, I think it's damaging. So in conclusion, Idaho Governor C.L. Otto, the Western Governor Association's vice chairman, recently said, "The recession has slowed the growth in demand for electricity, but we cannot squander this opportunity to address future needs. It is clear that coordination among states, the federal government, all segments of the industry, and non-governmental organizations is essential for the region to meet its clean energy needs." In my eyes, the Texas GRASS is an excellent example how things can get done. A visionary PUC with political support, a coordinated regulatory process, and the courage by everyone involved combines for a very favorable environment for sustainable, renewable power growth. This model can and hopefully soon will be applied across this great nation. Thank you very much.